Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I heard the recording, so you got it this time.
I did. I started it. When are you heading for South Carolina?
It'll be a week from today.
Ah, good deal.
Yeah, I got to get a hold of Brian.
Yeah, I think you two would have a good chat.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, and like you said, he's only about 45 minutes away. Because where we are, we're in South Carolina. Charlotte's just above the line, and there's a lake that separates it, and they're on one side, and Charlotte's on the other.
Oh, okay.
How you doing?
Good. It's been pissing down rain here this morning, so other
Starting
than
to get
that,
cold up there, isn't
it's been cool.
it?
It's
We're last week we were able to open our windows in the morning and get some air through the place. This week it's just too damn hot again.
no, we haven't really suffered from that for a while.
Yeah, we had over 110 days, I think it was, over 100 degrees.
Well, it was last week. It was running in the high 80s with the humidex in the low 90s. And yesterday the temperature was 62 was the supposed high. And that
Yeah,
was
he's
morning.
back.
How are you?
Hello.
Morning,
How are
Joe.
things in downtown Costa Rica?
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Can't hear you.
It's wonderful.
Good.
How about you guys?
We're doing super good, but we'll get better.
Yeah, yeah, all's well, thank you.
Well,
Getting ready for a trip here.
where are you going?
Uh, Over to South Carolina. My daughter lives there, and they happen to be having hurricane weather getting ready to go up through there. So the next 2 weeks they're going to have some weather apparently. So we're not looking forward to that, but it's going to be good to see them.
I've been very fortunate. I lived in San Antonio for the first 20 years of my life, and the weather there was okay. There weren't any hurricanes or tornadoes or anything like that. And then I lived in Dallas for the next 20 years, and there were tornadoes and
Yep.
a lot of ice. It snowed a few times, but just the roads were just icy and you couldn't
Yeah.
see the ice, which made it a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
And
Black ice. Yeah.
then in the next 20 years, I lived in, 25, I lived in California, and I fortunately lived in Carlsbad, close to San Diego, which again, no hurricanes, no tornadoes, no really nothing. We were
Yeah.
pretty secluded. And then here in Costa Rica, no tornadoes, no hurricanes. There's some active volcanoes, but they haven't done anything. And so I've been pretty fortunate being in places where really there's not a lot of turbulence.
Sounds like it.
You know, I did live in Morrisville, which is close to Raleigh, for about a year when I was working on a Cisco project. That
Yeah.
was a lot of snow, and it was pretty though. It was nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of snow for you. It's that area doesn't get a lot of snow, but it's pretty mild weather for
Yes,
for a snow place. But for a guy like you coming from where you came from, yeah, definitely.
Now,
Uh,
what are we classing as a lot of snow?
pardon?
What are we classing as a lot of snow?
Well,
How many feet?
well,
Three, 4 feet?
no, it's probably maybe 5, 6 inches, but it snowed a lot of days,
Yeah.
and I didn't really spend much time home anyway because I flew every week. So I was in a different. I mean, I was in Germany a couple of years ago for 2 weeks, and it was 20 degrees, snow, and then the next week I was in Qatar, which was 80 degrees, and then the next week I was back in 20 degrees in Germany. So that's how my life has been because I traveled all over the place. So it was so many different extreme temperatures.
Now, when I lived in Saskatchewan, we used to average 4 feet of snow in the winter, the
Yeah,
backyard.
that's a lot.
No. Yeah, you got to learn to like that. And see, I was born and raised out. I was born actually in New York, but I was raised out in Southern California, just a little farther, about hour or so above where you were in Carlsbad there. So I was up in Orange County,
Mm.
and I moved from there to Denver, which is considered mild weather. But I enjoyed the snow in the first couple of years. So as a California boy, it was a good distraction. It was fun to be, and it was different. But after about 7, 8 years, my wife came to me and she goes, "We need to find a warmer place to live." She goes, "Every time the leaves change colors, you turn into an asshole."
Well, there's some cold places. I was in Milwaukee for 1 week. It was minus 25. And then I went to New York and it was 15 and it's all relative, right? Because when I got to
Yeah.
New York, I took my coat off and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is nice." And they said, "What is this?" I said, "No, minus 25 was where I just came from." So everything is relative, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Peter,
Morning, Peter.
Glenda.
Angelus says Peter.
Good morning.
Peter's the
Oh, Peter.
gentleman that's actually runs this group. He's the gentleman and everything else whose group I'm running for.
Oh,
He's
okay.
also running late, so my sincere apologies. Nice to see you, Evangelist. Good to see you, my man. Glenda, hello. Brian and Pat, always lovely
Hello.
to see
Hello. Hello.
you.
Pete,
It's
how are you feeling?
Well, not really jumping out of my skin, but I'm pretty good.
Okay, good. Well, that's all that matters. Steps at a
Yeah.
time.
Well, I know I listen to you very carefully, Glenda. I'm going one step at a time because if I try to do 2 steps, I end up going backwards.
Yeah, no. It's the
Yeah.
whole key to it all.
Yeah. But it's very easy, Glenda. It's very easy to forget when you're feeling, oh, not bad. I'm not feeling so bad. Okay. I'll do this. And then 10 minutes later, boom.
And
So,
it's really the key is listening to that body. And when the body says to you, "I'm tired, I need to refuel," then you need to refuel, or I need to eat. Listen, I understand. I've been knocked down too many times. So I'm a smart woman as I listen.
you are smart. And I should be smarter and listen to my cardiologist more. She's a one good looking lady and I keep looking at her, but I don't listen.
with that in mind, what we'll do here is we'll get started. It's 8:08, and today's topic is, are you afraid of scaling your business? So, but before we get started, what we're going to do is we're going to have all the great people here share where they're from, what they do. And, for those of you that are watching the replay, you don't know who these people know. They could be the person that you're looking for your business. Reach out, talk to them. And as my good friend Brian says, we all learn something from these calls, and our time is well invested. So the people here, when you want to talk to them, their time is valuable. So is yours. So don't waste it. Talk to them, ask questions. And again, you don't know who they know. So what we'll do, we'll start with the introductions. We'll start with Pat, then go with Angelus, and then Miss Kroll.
Well, thank you, John. And Brian, I'll connect with you here shortly as I'm about a week away from being in your neighborhood. Yeah.
We definitely gonna meet up.
Yes, sir. I can't wait. Hey, everybody, I'm Pat Dreyer, and I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, United States here. And very simply, I show people how to make money. And I just use the leverage of network marketing and a company called My Daily Choice as that vehicle to build my home business. And we show people how to build a business as a consumer. And once you learn the skills that we teach, you'll never have to work for someone else ever again. And that's why so many of us actually got into network marketing. It's really just a lot of people doing a little bit. Now, there's a lot of ways to make money in this crazy world, but for the average person, network marketing is better than any other form of business. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact, and I can back it up. So I'm looking for a partner. And if that's you, I'll show you how to get some fast results, get you started real quick. And so connect with me, and I look forward to chatting with you. Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Nice, Pat. Vangelis.
Yes, hi, I'm Vangelis. I was in the world of technology for about 45 years, and I traveled the world helping companies connect to the internet starting back in 1995. Prior to that, I worked at IBM for 14 years. That was in the 70s. So I've been in technology for most of the time. As I traveled the world, I was meeting all of these executives and salespeople, engineers that in the eyes of the world were very successful, meaning they were making 6, 7, 8-figure incomes, and they had luxurious places and all that stuff. But they were always taking me aside at the end of the projects and talking to me about how they felt so empty and unfulfilled. And I, for decades, helped and worked with people for free. And at the suggestion and recommendation of a lot of people, they said I should actually do this as a full-time job. So I started a company a couple of years ago where I just work with successful people who would like to actually enjoy their success. That's what I'm doing now.
Thank you. Glenda.
Thank you. Do you look in the mirror and think that you're not where you should have been? Have you ever had the desire to have more, but something knocked you down? Maybe it was that job, the marriage, or the realization that life didn't build you as thought you would, but you craved more. Now with the kids growing up and gone, you're less asking yourself, what am I going to do next? If this resonates with you, it's time to stop waiting and start building the life that you truly wanted. But here's the truth. Change requires more than just wanting it. It takes real determination, ready to embrace that new chapter with the grit and passion. Hi, I'm Glenda Kroll, and I help people to reinvent themselves, rebuild their confidence, and learn how to create a lasting wealth through real estate investing. But it starts with your commitment to making that change. If you're ready to do the work and reclaim your new future, book a call with me today, and let's see if we're a match to work together. It truly is a transformation of your life, and I'll guide you every step along the way. It's time for you now. Let's make it happen. Thank you.
Thanks, Glenda. And now the world's greatest sales training coach, Mr. Brian K. McNeill.
You are very, very kind, Mr. John D. Allen. My name is Brian K. McNeill, and I'm a sales coach. I'm the world's recognized authority on selling services. I really like the way this room is shaping up, and I'm going to take you guys on a journey. But when I first entered the world of professional selling, I was 23 years old. And the training consisted of hang in there, you'll get it. And for the first 8, and that sounds familiar to some people, for the first 8 months when I was in a straight commission sales job, I was failing miserably. In Providence, I lucked upon my first book on selling. It was called How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. And I bought that book with my daily lunch money. And I turned the pages of that book. And then when I finished that book, I bought another book, Secrets of Closing the Sale by Zig Ziglar. And I started turning the pages of that book. And I finished that book, and I bought another book, The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. And I started turning those pages. And I bought another book, The Art of Closing Any Deal by James W. Pickens. And by my journey at going through those books, I got better and better and better at it. By my own count, I've read more than 700 books on how to sell, manage salespeople, and personal development. And I know that's a conservative number because several of the books I read more than one time. But what happened was I got good at selling, and I got better at teaching other people how to sell. And the bug hit me to hang my own shingle. So for the past 24 years, I have been helping people to sell themselves and their services better. And as much as I've been doing over the years, I will tell you, we do not sell today. We cannot sell today the way we sold back in the 90s. It's an entirely different market, an entirely different approach. And if you're not consistently studying, consistently learning, you're falling behind in how sales are made. I earn my living teaching people how to sell themselves, which they often forget, and their services better than they ever have before so they can earn more money. And I do it through my coaching, my workshops, my talk show platform, or my books. And I'm a 7-time best-selling, award-winning author.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Peter.
Well, I'm still clapping Brian. I'm pretty proud of him. Peter Beckham. I used to call myself a coach and I decided to give it a miss. Then I used to call myself a mentor and I decided to give that a miss as well. And then I decided to call myself a collaborator. I thought, what the hell does that mean anyway? That's pretty damn confusing. So at the end of the day, I listened very carefully to what you said, Vangelis, about making the most of people's success as they are today. I mean, that's pretty. There are so many successful people who are unhappy. That's what it amounts to, right? I had the same issue. I focused on teaching people, and I'm going to do this I'm going to do with Brian McNeill. I am Southeast Asia's #1 authority on trust-based selling conversations. I don't teach people anything else but how to have a conversation with people that makes them feel comfortable in a way that they will open up and tell them the truth. That's it.
Thanks, Peter. I'm John D. Allen Small Business Coaching in Northern Ontario, where we're having a nice, beautiful, rainy day. And I'm a student of Peter's and a lot of other coaches for many, many years. And the one thing I've learned from Peter, and I work with coaches and financial planners, is how to help these people solve 3 of their biggest problems. How to get to their prospect's real problem and have them own it. How to end the sales or the chasing game forever. And how they can double their business in 180 days or less. And it's not going out there and trying to attract 10 million people because, hey, that's a waste of time and energy. It's how to use the clients and prospects that you already have. And so just before we get going on our call today, have a couple of apologies for people that are normally here, but unfortunately can't make it. We got Yvonne A. Jones. We got Sherry Bennett. We got Anthony and Janet Purcelli. These are all great people that are normally here, but for whatever reasons they can't be today. And now, I'd like to turn it over for today's roundtable discussion is, are you secretly afraid of scaling your business? And why? The floor is open.
When I was in sales years ago, it was one of those kind of things where I called it the comfort zone. And so when you're in that area, you don't worry about your quota because you're blowing it out every month anyway. And so the only thing you're doing is figuring out pretty much how to spend your money, and you've done pretty good at it. And everybody knows you can do better, but you hit this place that you're just real comfortable at, and you're good at it. And you like what you're doing. You like the income you've got, and your work and your home lifestyle. And are you afraid to do it? I don't know. It's a good possibility that there's some fear in what's ahead and what you might have to do to get to it. But it was something I used to call the comfort zone.
Interesting.
I think I am maybe afraid of doing it. Okay, I think I am afraid because for as long as I've been in the game, very, very often I've had the idea of training sales coaches to change my curriculum. And what I have found, I've tried it several times. The way I define scaling my business would be to have my business be able to operate irrespective of me, without me being there, touching it, okay? And what I have found was I've had great difficulties explaining the nuance, okay, or teaching them the nuance. I could teach them how to run a 10 to win workshop, what it's supposed to be, but teaching them how to interpret the answers on a 10 to win workshop, I found very, very difficult for me to do. And even when I did try to say, look, you're going to go to this workshop here and represent me and do it, I was so nervous, okay, because I know what the client wanted and they wanted me to deliver it, so maybe it is a bit of fear on scaling, or maybe some businesses scale better than others. Now, my speaking business, I have no idea. Only way I could think of to scale it is just to sell courses, curriculums, and talks and things like that. But those will be product sales. But yeah, I think there's a genuine fear about trying to scale my business, and it could be a thing about me.
Interesting. Now, with that thought in mind, you've got a lot of great stuff in everything you share, right? Are you afraid that somebody would put kind of their own spin on your material and it wouldn't be 100% yours? Or are you worried that you would create a bunch of parrots?
I think you're probably closer to it with their spin on it, and then their spin not being as good. Okay. But I'm not sure that's it either, John. But I think it's a great question. Am I afraid? Like, you can't be a great coach of a team without great assistant coaches. Okay. So it's got to be more of a personal challenge than the talent challenge. Okay. It has to be somewhere in there.
For me to think about that, it's how do I define scaling? When I first started teaching, a lot of the people would have their colleagues have a different teacher, and they would say, gosh, they didn't have the same information that I gave them, because I filled in some of my own experiences and my own real life stuff that I did. And I realized that to recreate the environment that I create, it's just like, Brian, what you're talking about. It's not the same thing, because you're sharing your experiences, which no one else has. So I realized there was no way to scale that. And then I thought, well, maybe what I can do is just make it so that I can teach people how to guide themselves. And that's what I started working on, is working on people to help them find out who they are and what their path is. And that way, once I help them guide them do that, then they can guide the next person. Because if I'm just doing that, I'm not really teaching them a specific thing that may only work with one person. But if I'm saying, look, let's find out how you can guide yourself, and that's how I started doing it. So that's really what I'm working on now. But that took me all these years to figure that out, because again, doing technology and sales classes and executive classes, even though everybody has the same slides, my experience gave a different class. So that's what I realized. What is the definition of scaling? What am I really scaling? So I had to figure out scaling something different other than just information.
I love that perspective.
What is your definition of scaling?
You're asking me what mine is?
Yeah, what is it? I'd love to know.
Well,
Sorry, interrupt you, Brian.
Initially, when I heard the topic, it was, how can I make more of me? How can I clone more of me so I can get to more people? And what I realized is, when I first started out trying to work with social media, it didn't fit with me, because I thought there's no way that I can send an email to 5,000 people a day. And I can't get someone else to send it for me, because they're not going to know what I know and say what I say. So I thought, there's no way I can do this. And that was my first definition of scaling, is to be able to reach more people. And then when I thought, maybe if I just help 100 people, then if those people help just one person, then that's 200, and that's 400, and that's 800. That was an easier way for me to reach more people, to at least get them started. So that's kind of how I saw scaling initially.
Yeah. Okay. The reason I ask is because, going back in history, seeing I'm an old bug around here, right? But in the 1980s, I was managing more than 1,000 life insurance agents. And in the 1980s, if you were earning more than $100,000 a year, that was a lot of money in the 1980s, right? And we had the top 35% of our agency force earning in excess of 100,000. But not one of them had any support staff.
Ooh.
Not one of them was prepared to delegate anything at all, unless it was to their wife and they didn't pay them anyway. And that to me struck home, because when I first started, I employed 2 kids, right, who didn't know anything about the insurance industry. The company, they trained them. I didn't want to do it anyway, right? They trained them, but I paid them because I didn't want to do what they were doing. And to me, sometimes scaling your business secretly scares you because you are not able to delegate. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Some people find that extremely difficult to do because they think, no, they can't do what I do. And I'm not paraphrasing what you said, Vangelis, because you can't be 1,000 of you. But there are tasks that we do that we should never be doing. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah. And I think that's amazing, Peter. Thank you very much for that. I want to lift up an example, if I could, of why I fear it. Okay. When I get a new client, one of the first exercises we do is an exercise I call 10 to win. And it's 3 different lists of 10. But I have them take out a sheet of paper and number it from 1 to 10, skipping a line between each number. And then I set a timer. I tell them I have 3 minutes on the clock. And I tell them, don't start until I say go. And I said, when I say go, I'm going to want you to write down 10 great reasons why someone should work with you and your services. 10 great reasons why they should work with you and your services. And I tell them, I'm highlighting, listen to how I'm asking you, because you're the biggest part of your services. I said, permission to brag is granted. There's no one here you could talk about. Why should they work with you and your services? Go. Now, when I say go, I start the timer, but I talk to them the whole time, fully understanding that I'm distracting them. I'll say so. I understand that I'm distracting you, but I still want you to finish this within 3 minutes time. If you can't finish within 3 minutes time, it means you either don't know enough about what you're offering or you're thinking too hard. And I know you do know enough. Ask them how long they've been in business during the 3 minutes. Ask them what do they like about the business during the 3 minutes. I'm fully distracting them and I'm pushing them to finish it in 3 minutes. And most people can. Now, when they finish that list that I distracted them on, 10 great reasons why someone should work with you and your services, I can look at that list and look at how they answer the questions. And I can see this person thinks service first, or this person thinks business first, or this person doesn't believe in what they're doing. You can see that from their consistent answers. You could tell who someone who spent a whole lot of time just answering the phone or taking orders, but you could tell someone who's accustomed to going after business or not. You could see stuff like that just in those answers. The reason why I put them on the clock is I'm crowding their headspace and I'm shutting off the story creation side, because I don't want them thinking, what's the textbook answer or what is Brian trying to get me to say? And by crowding their space, they only have enough time to say the things that are front of brain or already in their mouth. The stuff that's all they have time for, the stuff that they already say. So I get the most authentic answers, the closest to the truth answers, by crowding their space, because they don't have time to create anything. They only have time to do the stuff they already have. But try to teach someone how to read the responses, I found very difficult.
Why is that?
Because they couldn't see what I saw. That in the few examples that I have, John, I said, now what is this? Their responses, what is that saying to you? What can you get out of that? And I'm not sure if that was an unfair question, but it's the question I asked.
Now, with that in mind, and the reason I'm asking is years ago, I worked with a gentleman in a network marketing company, and he had, I think there was 25 words. and you could organize them in any way. But again, he was really good at going down and organizing, reading these words. It took me quite a while, but I got down to where I could do pretty much the same thing. And it is an amazing thing to do. You do have to work at it, and it does take a lot of practice. And, you know, first few times you do it, you can totally blow it. But that is a skill that can be learned. Another thing you may want to learn is when you and Pat get together, take a look at the system that Pat uses for growing his business. Those 3 steps. That I think can really help you with your business. You know, I think you guys are going to have a great visit,
I can't wait.
you know, and I think Pat's got a lot to share that can help you in growing your business.
Part of my challenge is the messaging, because when I was teaching sales and engineers how to sell their products, the thing that always caught my attention was, how do you differentiate? Because they would use the same words that everybody would use. And when you use those terms, who knows what the person you're speaking with, what their definition of that term is. And so for me to get real concise and hone in on my message, what am I really trying to say? That was another thing that I was seeing that might prevent me from being able to reach the most people. So I'm always open for people to helping me with my messaging. I was taking a class from Dean Graziosi, and he said when he wrote one of his books, he sold like 10 copies the first year. He changed his messaging and sold 500,000 the next year. And I thought, see, that's what I need help with, is because, you know, your ideal client it was the one that identifies with you the most. Well, it's people like me. And when I first started out in social media, someone said, well, people have a very short attention span. They're only going to watch 3 seconds of your video. I said, well, that's not my client.
Right.
My client is like me, who watches a 2-hour video because I want to know what you're talking about. Those people that for 3 seconds they're off, they're not going to do the work. They're not. And I don't want them as clients. And that's another thing I realized, you know, I'm the one really selecting the clients now. Whereas before, you know, you got this desperate idea. And I thought, no, I'm not desperate anymore. You have to prove to me that you want to work with me. So messaging to me is what I'm always looking for help. So that's really, to me, is another thing that can help you scale or prevent you from scaling.
And Gillies,
Yeah, we're looking for people who are at the right place in the right time to take our message on. And because we can't talk anybody else into it.
I think that's the key is first of all to really to encourage those people as being totally genuine, being who you are. You know, so many people out there are there and they're just trying to stamp everybody else's personality and things. But when we come out to being our own selves and sharing our own message by not worrying what other people are going to think, it's really the key. You know, throughout my life, I've always been scared to put myself out there, scared to do the work, scared, I'll take that back, not to do the work, but scared to do what I think is got to be. But the whole idea of having to move forward and doing it is to go forward even when you're scared. And that's what has always been about, you know, with going on with everything throughout my life and exposing myself to more, and most important, exposing myself and creating more connections out there of people who can bring more light into my life as well. So when we just look at creating and being ourselves, I think that's really part of the whole key of it all. And just like you said before, if we just worry about or focus on touching one person's life at a time and bring that and allowing that to keep going forward, I think that's really the key to it all.
And Glenda, to get people to really be authentic, that's one of the things that I find is challenging for people, because we have created so many coping mechanisms and so many false identities to fit in the gym, the church, the school, the home. And I mean, we wear all these masks because it's like we don't feel comfortable being me in all those places. And so you want to fit in, but then as you go through life, you realize I'm taking all the masks off, and if you don't approve of me or whatever, I don't really care anymore. But it takes a while to get to that point.
Well, it takes a while to get to that point, but it also takes the work, through the years of knockdowns. And, that's where I come in as my biggest thing is, through the years of your knockdowns, it's coming to the point where you build up the confidence of really doing that work to peel off those layers. Because once we realize who we really are, and we don't need to put that whole facade on, it changes everything in our lives.
Absolutely.
Just before here, Mary's just joined us, another rose amongst us thorns. Mary, you want to give a brief description of, what you do and who you help and what have you? And the other thing, Vangelis, you and Peter should hook up. You can both help each other with your messaging and what have you. So I think that would be a great connection for you.
Okay, perfect.
Mary?
Are you talking to me and Mary? John, were you talking to me and Mary?
No, I was talking to you and Vangelis about hooking up. And
Oh,
you can both help each other.
in
And
the
then
in the chat, I've got my email there for you. Okay. And if you're interested, sorry to interrupt you, John, beg your pardon. But if you're interested, I did a course with Dean Graziosi also many years ago. And one of the courses I did and then worked from there was called Master Your Messaging. If you like, I'll give it to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. All I need you to do is use that email and send me an email, and I'll reply saying, here it is.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Sorry, Dr. John. And Glenda. Sorry.
Mary?
Oops. And Mary.
All good. Hi, guys. Sorry I'm late. I overslept. So the statistics are staggering. 66% of it, autistic individuals will think about suicide at one point in their lives. Out of that 66%, 28% of autistic children and young adults will either attempt or commit suicide. I highlight these numbers to show you the immense support that is lacking in the mental health world for neurodiverse individuals due to pressures of suicide, society, isolation, misunderstanding. So as a mother of 2 autistic children, I have personally witnessed these tolls and challenges that can take. Excuse me. This is why I believe neurodiverse individuals and families deserve that opportunity to grow, to thrive without the weight of expectations. And so my approaches are personalized and natural, designed to truly honor each person's unique strength and challenges. By focusing on breaking down barriers, providing support, embracing individual strengths, we can help neurodiverse individuals find a sense of belonging and purpose, free from the constraints of society and labels.
Great. Now, are you afraid of scaling your business?
I think everybody's a little scared of growing. The question is does the fear stop you? Because if you don't have that fear, then you're not emotionally connected to your business. Because it's a fear of the unknown. When you follow your mission and your why of what you're doing, and don't let the fear overcome and overpower you, that's where the success happens. I'm terrified of scaling my business, and I just got the opportunity to do it. I've spent the last week with courses in Australia. So I've been up all night because of the time difference. But the organization is actually partnering with me, and we are going to build the first completely acceptable neurodiverse programs for specialists, coaches, and individuals that will be certifiable to where you can go to a board like the NLP board or coaching board, and it's recognized. So you can collect insurance with it. 5 years,
Awesome.
that door just finally opened up for me.
Wow.
And I'm terrified.
Great answers, Mary. Great answers, both of them. I would like to go back to something that Peter talked about. His top agents didn't have an assistant. And I have, because my work, I'm in the field since the beginning. I still sell regularly. Along the way in my study, especially when I was training myself to train real estate agents on how to sell, I began my career teaching real estate agents how to sell. That's where I cut my teeth. Boutique agencies with, 8, 10, 12 agents, not 300 agents. But I read all the great books on real estate about, your first year in real estate, Sell Like a Madman, all those kind of great books. And and it keeps coming up, Peter, if you don't have a great assistant or assistants, then you are one. That means you are an assistant if you don't have a great one. Even that, because there's a lot of things that can be farmed out. So if you don't have a great assistant, you are one. So the question is, and I think it's a good one, because I wrestle with this one too. How to use them properly, because this is back to the central theme of today. Are you afraid to scale your business? My wife and I, we've had lots of different VAs over the years, and that's a problem too, that we've had lots of them. And we got to the place where it's particularly her, she decided to stop hiring them because every time she hires a virtual assistant, she spends a whole lot of time redoing stuff that she had them do because they didn't do it the way she wanted. There's one that we've kept a long time, but we've juggled a lot of different ones over the years because we can't seem to find one that can stay and keep giving us stuff what we need. So I just wanted to say that the point about assistance and hiring help and leaving the help alone to do the stuff you hired them to do has been a challenge for us.
Brian, it's interesting you say that because to me, I don't like the word VA, to be quite frank. I think it's demeaning.
Okay.
I think it's demeaning. And when I gave the opportunity to a particular young lady, because I've got a situation that I can't access LinkedIn anymore, which really is pissing me off, quite frank. I'm looking at other options right now. And this young lady, who's been talking to me now for about a month, said to me, look, why don't we do this? Forget LinkedIn. I can get you access into networks in the United States that are not things like Alignable John, by the way. They're other ones. And I will do it for you, okay, for free. But there's one condition. And I said, what's the condition? She said, if I can do it for you and it works, I do not want to be your VA. I want to be your marketing director. I said, done. Done. Now let's sit down and work out what you need to do in order to earn the title of marketing director. Okay?
Makes a difference.
Yeah, but it made her feel different. Right? And she's no spring chicken, by the way. She's 48, which is old for a VA. Okay? But she knows what she's on about. And she is smart cookie. So early days, Brian, early days, who knows? But I'm putting sticks in as many holes as I can find right now to see what's going to go on. So,
but that says a lot about her because, first of all, she thought outside the box. She's also, when I was young in those wonderful early years, how I would go out there and I would work and I didn't care about whether I was going to get paid. I was going to do whatever I needed to do for people to see who I was.
yeah.
And it was through doing that I earned the respect and where I actually earned a lot of opportunities that came to me that made me grow, and where I ended up earning a lot of money. So her doing what she's doing is brilliant, and which more people should be doing. Everybody's looking at the small picture. She's looking at the big picture. So
Yeah.
by taking on you and looking at that, there's a more opportunity for her in this way. So, gratis goes to her for doing what she's done. And yes, I do believe that you're true. It's true. It's not about having that little title. If we wanted to put it out there, it's okay to be the assistant, because if you can make somebody else feel better by a title, who cares? As long as the job really gets done.
True.
And when they want to work with you instead of for you, that's one of the things that I found when I became a salesperson at IBM, because I had been an engineer for so many years, and I noticed the salespeople were just selling based on what they got their commissions on. And when I became a sales guy, so I went out to the customer, said, I'm not here to sell you anything. I want to work with you. I want you to see me as an extension of your staff. And they started seeing me as an advisor. And that I didn't read that in a book. I just kind of fell into it, and it just really helped me
Very clever selling.
along the way. And so that's what it seems like what this lady has done with you, Peter, is she wants to work with you, not for you. And
That
she's
is exactly it. That is exactly
tied into your success. And so, and also, when I started seeing myself, and Glenn, what you were saying is, when I started seeing myself,
Anne needs to mute
accepting
herself.
me,
Anne needs to mute.
and when I accepted myself, other people around me accepted me. And so I started realizing really the external is just mirroring me. And I started meeting more people like that.
Yeah, good point. Good point indeed.
It's close to my heart. They stay close to my heart.
Hello, Anne. Thank you for coming and welcome. But could you mute yourself, because we're hearing people in the background, so we're not hearing the people speaking? Thank you.
And can you take a minute just to introduce yourself, where you're from, what you do, and we could go from there? You're
Still on
muted.
mute.
You're on mute, Anne.
Sorry.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anne. I'm originally from Africa, Kenya, and now in Canada. I'm with the Primerica company. Thank you.
Great, thank you. What you were saying, Glenn, it makes a lot of sense, for the way people are and what have you. So there's that. You've been kind of quiet here in this discussion.
Yes.
I kind of got it started with the approach of comfort zone, but and that's really where I still see it as far as scaling your business. You just got to get it in your head that you can do it. You have to know that it's a choice, obviously, and you just got to drop the fears that you have, because you've been afraid of so many things in your life, and you've always gotten through them. And even the worst situations we've ever had, we've always gotten through them. So we just have to know that if we want to grow it, it's in our hands. It's a choice we can make, and we got to find a way to do it.
It's totally a mindset of, when things start to hold you back, usually those are things that just, just like the thing says, false evidence appearing real. These are things that we make up in our own mind. What if I fall on my face? What if, and it keeps going on. And we are really good with doing that to ourselves. We what if ourselves to death. But what if we change that and say, what if I make it through? What if I make one more contact? What if my message isn't 100%, but what if I connect with that one individual that can skyrocket me? So if we can start changing ourselves by the way we think, and instead on the negative, because that's the way society is, everything is programmed for negativity. But what if we change ourselves to saying, what if I shine? What if I meet that person? What if it all just goes right? So why not try that one thing that will keep me moving forward, one thing at a time? And if we keep building ourselves, our skills, and keep on building our confidence, these things can actually grow us. And then as we try to build ourselves, and we can scale one step at a time. I'm a very one step at a time person, because when we do, it's just like when you're running an ad, if your ad isn't working, you have to make one change, because if you make two changes, you're not going to know which one is working, which one isn't. So everything in my life is one step at a time, because how do you know what's going to work if you do too many things at one time? So one step at a time, by building yourself, by exposing yourself, by doing that, and having that mindset of what if I make it through, can change everything, in my opinion.
And John, on that comfort zone, know that the comfort zone is only good for that short period of time. It's truly a death trap. Because if you stay in that comfort zone, you're going to do nothing but go down. So if you're not growing, you're really dying. So that comfort zone I was talking about is good for a period of time, but you're not going to succeed from it.
I learned to use. Sorry. Go ahead, Peter.
I mentioned earlier, I'm putting as many sticks in as many bottles as I possibly can right now to try and to catch up, because I'm behind where I should be. But after the discussion today with this lady and the title option in terms of marketing director, which I am absolutely delighted about. I mean, I don't give a darn, right? Doesn't matter much. Makes her feel good. And she's not asking for any more money. She just wants a title, right? But when I was having the next discussion with my next consultation, I just mentioned in passing, I said, do you have any support staff? Because I deal with solopreneurs, but most of the solopreneurs I deal with do not have any support staff. I said, do you have support staff? Do you have any? And they said, why? I said, well, why not? Are you doing all your photocopying? Yes. Well, surely someone else could be doing that for you, right? And then they hit me right between the eyes with the thing that's where their greatest fear was. And I'd never thought about this before. And Brian, this may be interesting to you. The reason scaling is secretly concerning them is the fact that they may lose control. And I'd never thought about that before in my life, right? That they could be losing control to people.
Definitely a control issue.
Which means they're not good leaders anyway, right? Obviously. I mean, if you're a good leader, you'd be bringing on people who can do the job far better than you can, right? Rather than bringing on people who are less able than you. But that's what he said to me. I don't want to lose control of my company. Interesting.
It's definitely a control thing. There's adages about control. And I'm going to have to get out of here to start my podcast. It starts in 7 minutes. But it's definitely a control. Like they say, people who check the time constantly. Why are they checking the time so much? Because they want to maintain some semblance of control. Or it could just be they want to know the time all the time. So there's definitely some control. I don't know if that has anything to do with, it may have something, but I'm not certain it has anything to do with the quality of leadership that they can provide. Because I consider leadership, one of the primary parts of leadership is being consistent and being able to, people know how you're going to respond. You're consistently responding like this, or providing a good example of what it could look like, whether you're successful or not. I hate to speak and run, but my wife is ready for me. I do enjoy you guys very much. And Pat, please I would love to have lunch with you or something when you come to town. I want
We'll
to
get it worked out.
Okay,
Yep,
buddy.
yep,
I
yep.
apologize, fellas. Y'all have a good day. Good day.
And Pat, I'm not going to be far behind you because I haven't forgotten you either. Just give me the chance to get through this crap I'm in right now.
No worries. You're fine.
Now, this has been a great discussion. And, you know, Peter, we were talking about the comfort zone and Pat. You know, when I was running a sales team, I always found they were good for plus or minus 10%. If the sales reps were down 10%, they bust their ass to get back up to where they were. If they were up 10%, they coast and get back down to their quota. So again, they're, oh, geez, I don't know why I can't do anything. Well, you're working on this level, on that comfort zone. You know, that's where you're happy doing it, whether you're happy or not with the results, but that's what you're working at. You know, and I think as solopreneurs and everything else, you know, it's just something that happens. So, you know, we've all got to overcome that barrier and get on with our life and get going on it.
You know, John, you brought up a
They're
good
choices
point.
we make, yeah.
And what comes to mind as you're saying this is that a lot of individuals, all of us at some variation form, lack faith. And it's faith in ourselves and our abilities, and faith in, you know, a higher power that, you know, we're following our path, we're doing what we're supposed to do. When we have faith in ourselves and our strengths and our goals, and that we know what we're doing in our business, we're following, you know, our gut to follow that mission and seeing that path in front of you to keep going forward to expand, because human nature is designed to succeed, not to survive. And for years, that's where the inventions come in at, and the creativity comes in, is that drive and faith to do something more and never just settle. And with everything that's been going on in society now, we're losing that feeling and ending up more scared and losing our beliefs and our abilities because they're being knocked down all the time. And we need to go back and remember why. And that remembering that we've got this, it's our baby, we created it, to want to push forward and expand up and get out of that complacent comfort zone. So that's the only way as a human or as a person we're gonna succeed and, you know, expand.
Yeah, we allow others to knock us off our path, as opposed to your opinion of me or other people's opinion of me is none of my business. And if we would take that mentality towards it, nobody could knock you off your path. You'd be growing every day. And really, that's all you're looking for anyway, is just daily growth, just small daily growth. And it grows so big.
That's it, baby steps. Because if I would have followed, you know, being knocked down, I wouldn't be here today.
Me as well. And it's just like you said, Mary, it's really having faith in ourselves. And the only way that we can have faith in ourselves is we always have to keep looking back and looking at what we've accomplished in our lives, because, you know, we're so always looking at things that have knocked us down, and we focus on that, but we have to sort of look back and see even those little things that we have accomplished, because that's what we do, what we need to do, so we can keep celebrating that to build our own selves up.
Exactly.
Excellent. I hate to cut these guys short, guys. I've got another call here in 2 minutes. It's been a great call. Anybody got one last part they want to put up here?
Thank you very much, John, for hosting. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. And I
Great
appreciate
seeing everybody.
everybody's input.
I'll be back there soon. Just give me another week or two and then I'll be going. Oh,
You got this. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
okay, take care.
Thank you.
Oh, don't forget to download the chat for saving it. And
Evangelist, don't forget to email me. I'll send you back the bit of.
I will do that. I have enough. Thank you, Peter.
Okay, my pleasure, Marty. Take care.
Peter, can you download the chat? Or somebody?
I got it.
Can I be that technical? Yes, I can.
Good, you download the chat
I just did.
and I'll send you the recording shortly.
Alrighty.
All right, bye for now.
Take care. All the best.